Alice had always loved escaping into fictional worlds. Whether she was reading books, watching movies, or playing video games, she loved immersing herself in fantastical realms where anything was possible. But one day, as she was playing her favorite game, she suddenly found herself sucked into the game world itself. She looked around in disbelief as she found herself standing in the middle of a lush, forested landscape that she knew was supposed to be impossible. As she looked around, she realized that she was no longer just a player in the game. She was a character in the game world itself. The trees towered above her, and the air was thick with the smell of pine and the sound of rustling leaves. For a moment, Alice was filled with joy and wonder at the idea of actually being inside the world she loved so much. But as she looked around more closely, she realized that something was wrong. The forest around her was completely empty, devoid of any other living creatures or signs of civilization. As Alice explored further, she began to realize that she was completely alone in this world. The more she explored, the more she became convinced that she was trapped in the game world forever, unable to escape. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months. Alice survived by hunting and foraging, living off the land in this fictional world that had become her home. She even learned how to craft her own weapons and build her own shelter, using her knowledge of the game world to survive. But as time went on, Alice began to feel increasingly isolated and alone. She longed to return to the real world, to be with her friends and family again. But no matter how hard she tried, she couldn't find a way to escape. As Alice struggled to survive in this strange and beautiful world, she learned a valuable lesson about the power of fiction. She realized that stories have the power to transport us to new worlds and to help us escape from our own problems, but they can also trap us in their own realities if we're not careful. In the end, Alice found a way to escape the fictional world and return to the real world. But she never forgot the lessons she learned in that magical place, and she continued to explore new worlds and new stories with a newfound appreciation for the power of fiction.